Yeah. So, well, it's great to meet you. And I'd like to peel back the layers here and begin with, we're literally coming up on the 4-year anniversary of this pandemic. And I'm curious, if you go back to when it began, how did you survive that time? And how did it change you and change the way that you do things?
That's a great question. So interestingly, I had been doing my business 100% online before the pandemic, for years before the pandemic. So that in and of itself didn't affect me at all. Obviously, there were lots of impacts. It had a huge effect on me personally in a very positive way after all the negative stuff, because it enabled my husband and I to move from Canada to the US.
Yeah.
He's an attorney, and he always thought he could never work remotely. And then, COVID happened and everything became remote. So we were able to move to the US and he can still practice law in Canada. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we got out of winter. um, and my business actually, because I mentor and train people on how to build their businesses online, my business boomed during the pandemic.
Yeah. So let's let's get to the heart and soul of exactly what you do to help clients. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of third graders. It's career day. And one of the kids says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer that child?
That's a great question. So I teach people how to use Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube, a little bit TikTok, but primarily Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, of course, Instagram, Pinterest, those are there. But I teach them how to use those three platforms to build a business so they can work from home and, enjoy life, and I also teach people that they need to have multiple ways that they can make business, make money. Multiple. They have to have multiple streams of income. You
Yeah.
have to diversify. You can't put all your eggs in one basket anymore. Those days are gone, gone, gone. So that's what I teach people how to do.
Interesting. So you obviously been an entrepreneur for a long time, but what did you want to be in the third grade? What was your whole dream?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Uh, I think I wanted to be a musician. I started playing clarinet when I was in the 3rd grade. I actually ended up getting a degree in classical saxophone, believe it or
Oh,
not,
wow,
from
cool.
Boston University. But I think I probably wanted to be a musician when I was in the 3rd grade.
So what was the pivot for you? What made you get into business and put the music aside?
Well, there's not a lot of work as a classical saxophonist. I thought I
Yeah.
wanted to be a music teacher.
Yeah.
Initially, and then I thought, "Oh, no, 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 no." Teaching music was not for me.
Yeah.
Um, but I had spent so much time, and I have 0 regrets about that. I spent so much time all through grade school, middle school, high school, dedicating myself to practicing my instrument, that when it came time to go to college, it was like, "Well, that's what I'm gonna do because that's what I do."
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
under the whole idea that none of that was wasted, how did that music acumen lend to being an entrepreneur and having a business mindset that's been successful for you?
Oh my gosh, discipline, self-discipline. So all during high school and college, especially, so when all your friends were out on summer break at college, they weren't doing anything. Maybe they had a job or something like that. I was practicing my saxophone 5 and 6 hours a day,
Yeah.
religiously, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And I did that during every holiday, Christmas break, spring break, every, that's just what I had to do.
Yeah.
So I learned immense self-discipline, which is one of the, I think, probably the most challenging things for people who have been in a job and then try to become an entrepreneur. If you've been in a job and you've had a boss telling you, or a system telling you, okay, this is what you do. You go in at 9, you do this, 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 and this, and there's a whole infrastructure around it, everything, and there's just work coming at you. Then you quit, or you try to be an entrepreneur, and it's like, uh, okay, it's 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. Well, what am I supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
But I knew how to be self-disciplined and I knew how to get myself in gear. And I just I would constantly, I remember there was a time in my life where it wasn't very pretty, where I lost everything because I had a multiple seven-figure business and I lost it overnight. And when you've got a multiple seven-figure business, you've got a lot of income coming in, but you also have a lot of expenses.
Yeah.
And I had expenses and no income coming in. I had contracts, I had employees, and I was up to my eyeballs in debt. I maxed out every single credit card I had. My husband maxed out all of his credit cards. We cashed in every dime of retirement savings we could just to try to stay afloat.
Wow.
And I would ask myself, like every second of every day, okay, what do you have to do right now, Gloria, to produce some income, to try to produce some income? And wow, when your back's up against the wall,
Yeah.
you know, you either sink or swim, and I'm a swimmer.
Yeah, for sure. So let me ask you this. How did the entrepreneur mindset become you? Obviously, music's a very right brain kind of thing. I mean, there's regiments that go into it that's left brain, but overall, how did these seeds of being an entrepreneur ultimately grow into who you are today?
Um, I didn't set out to be an entrepreneur. Well, however, in the music industry, it's not like you have if you're not going to be a music teacher, it's not like you have a job.
Yeah.
But I didn't stay in the music industry very long at all. Um, I I had a big corporate career. I did very well in the corporate world, but when I was the summer after I graduated from college, I got a taste of network marketing. Some friends invited my husband and I over for dinner, and I mean, this is like 45 years ago now, and they brought out a flip chart after dinner. We thought we were just going for a casual dinner. They brought out a flip chart after dinner and they started talking about this business opportunity. And it was like, wow, I could see the vision of an unlimited income potential,
Yeah.
not having a 9 to 5 job where you get a salary and maybe if you're lucky, you get a raise, and then a little bit more of a raise. But you never really, or maybe you get some promotions. But when you have a job, for the most part, unless you're a commission sales rep, you have limited income potential
Yeah.
and you're trading time for dollars. And I saw this vision of not trading time for dollars and having an unlimited income potential. And I held that vision. So I've been in the network and affiliate marketing industry for 45 years. Now, for the first 25 years of that, I also had a job and I had a great corporate career. Um, but then I decided that I was going to start my own business. I left cold turkey. I didn't have any income coming in. And I was single at the time. I'd been through a divorce. And what I actually started, my first multiple seven-figure business, was a matchmaking business,
Wow.
a high-end matchmaking business where it was highly personalized. I actually went and interviewed people in their homes, and I had it set up as very similar to an executive search firm. So I'd come interview you, and then I'd literally go out and look for appropriate women to introduce you to. That was a long time ago, a long
Sure.
time
Yeah, yeah,
ago.
yeah. Wow.
That was the business that overnight went belly up, and I was like, I was up a creek without a paddle.
Wow.
I went from making 5 to 6 figures a month to literally, I went from 1 month having a great month. The next month I made $3,500. And the next month I made not one dime.
Wow.
So, but I'd already started the entrepreneurial journey. It was a great business. I had it for 13 years and it provided me with an amazing living. And, I was passionate about it until I wasn't. And that was very interesting. Hindsight being 2020, I could see how I totally created my own demise. It
Right.
was 100% my fault,
Right.
100%. But then I had to do something.
Yeah.
So all along, I had a toe in the network marketing and affiliate marketing industry. But then I had to reinvent myself, and I was 56 years old and lost every dime of retirement savings at the age of 56. Not recommended, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
for all your listeners and viewers, that is not a recommendation.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
But
but
that's
my
this.
sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say that's kind of the spirit of the entrepreneur. I mean, you're you don't you embrace the whole failure aspect of things and just become a better organism. It's just kind of a part of what you do. I mean, the risk is huge to do something like that. So there's a chance that something overnight could just evaporate everything,
Absolutely. Yep.
you know?
That's the risk. And with great risks come great rewards,
Yeah,
right?
for sure. For sure.
And at that point, I had all my eggs in my matchmaking business.
Yeah.
And now, of course, the world changed a lot because when I started that business, the internet was just kind of barely getting going.
Yeah. Yep.
Online dating wasn't a thing.
Yep.
Uh, you know, Facebook, I think Facebook started the same year I started my matchmaking business.
Yeah.
But nobody knew what Facebook was, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well,
um,
it's an interesting business model because I think Zuckerberg began Facebook, his journey into getting into social media and the internet with some version of that, of dating, or like, I think he was at Harvard, and it was, you could vote on people. There was something like that. It was dating related. And I think that was kind of the trend at that point,
right.
you know?
And, so my life is totally different now because I do everything online.
Yeah.
Obviously, back then it was all very much, in person. I was doing newspaper ads and magazine ads and everything. But then when I got full time into network marketing, uh, the world had changed and I learned how to build a business online.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing I do. I mean, that's the only thing I do. I teach network and affiliate marketers how to build their businesses online
Yeah.
using the power of social media, email marketing. I'm huge, huge, huge on building an email list and branding yourself, really
Yeah.
becoming a trusted authority.
So who's been a hero for you, an inspiration in your life that's gotten you where you are?
Well, my high school saxophone teacher was one person. A boss I had in the corporate world years and years and years ago. Um, yeah. And then obviously different people that I don't necessarily know personally, but online courses and things like that.
Yeah.
Um, I was at a turning point. I had just like lost my matchmaking business. It was October of uh, 2013. And I had already signed up to go to an online marketing course with a friend of mine. And like there was no money coming in, and I almost didn't go. And she
Yeah.
said, no, no. And I was like literally in the depths of like I was I was in a depression.
Yeah.
I felt like I was swimming through mud every day.
Yeah.
Brendan Burchard spoke on stage at that event.
Yeah.
And I can't even tell you today what it was he said, but whatever he said, there was a turning point. Like a light came on for me, and it was like, okay, Gloria, there will be a way out of this for you. Because at the time, I saw no way out of the absolute, depths of despair
Yeah.
and loss. Um, but so Brendan Burchard was a huge, I mean, he doesn't know me. I don't know him. I mean,
Right.
obviously who he is, but he was that one event.
Yep.
And like, I couldn't tell you all the other speakers at that event, but something he said, you know,
That's it. It's those magic moments. So let me ask you this. If you could meet one person on the planet right now that you find fascinating or inspirational, who would that be? Who would you love to meet and talk to?
ooh, gee, that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. Mm, I honestly, I can't think of anybody. I mean, there are lots of people, but like there's not one person that's like,
Sure.
oh my gosh, I'd love to meet this person. There are tons of people I'd be very curious to meet.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Let me ask you an easier one. As a saxophone player, who have you seen perform live that you loved seeing the most play that instrument?
Um, hmm.
Well,
Sonny Rollins, years and
oh,
years and years and years and years and years and
wow.
years ago, Carnegie Hall, Sonny Rollins at Carnegie Hall in New York City.
Wow.
Yeah,
That
but
that
I haven't been involved in the music industry for eons.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, I would love to have caught Sonny live,
yeah,
because he doesn't play anymore. He's
no,
retired. So,
yeah.
yeah. So let me ask you this. Every day you wake up, you have a job where you're helping people, but you also have to evolve as a human yourself. What is that motivation for you every day to hit all of the points to feel like you've had a good day?
What's the motivation?
Yeah,
Oh man, I just love, 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 love what I do. And seeing a light go on in somebody's head,
yeah,
knowing that somebody for the first time in their life recruited someone, seeing that someone is like, oh my gosh, I'm getting new connections on LinkedIn. I can see this is working. My email list is starting to grow. It's um yeah, it's
yeah.
so fulfilling. So fulfilling.
So what's been one of your favorite success stories?
You know, um I can't say that there's one favorite that's really jumping out at me, but honestly, every day something happens that just makes my heart sing. you know, Whether it's an email I get from somebody thanking me or a comment. I do Zoom calls all day long with people, and I do team, group Zoom calls. We'll all have, anywhere from, 80 to maybe 200 people on a Zoom call, and somebody will say something, and, it just makes my heart sing. I mean, sure, I've had people that have, had six plus figure success stories. And, that's super rewarding and great. But it's so much more than the money. It's having somebody just feel better about themselves.
Yeah,
Like finally feel like, oh, I'm not a failure.
yeah. So let's say you have a dream tonight. You run into the 20-year-old version of you, and you could give that young version of you a piece of advice based on the life you've led, the wisdom you've gained. What advice would you give your young self?
I would tell myself to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
I mean, I loved my corporate career. I had a great corporate career, but I would start off gun ho. If I could see then what I see now, it would be like, and I'll tell you, here's what I didn't know for years and years and years and years and years, Joe. For years, I watched all those people who were making the big bucks and thought, there's something they're not telling us. They have some secret they're not sharing with us.
yeah,
What is it? And I finally, finally, finally figured it out. It was that we all give up 3 feet from the gold, as Napoleon Hill says,
yeah,
you know? And now it's like, guys, there is no magic to this. You have to work your tail end off,
yeah,
and you have to be rock solid, consistent.
yeah,
5 days a week is great. 7 days a week is better. It all depends upon what your goals are, right?
yeah,
How quickly you want to grow. But you have to be rock solid, consistent, 5 days a week without fail,
yeah,
without fail, at least for 6 months before you start to get any traction. And then at 6 months, you're just starting to get traction. You're not successful. You're just starting to get traction. But people give up. People
yeah,
give up. They're not willing to be rock solid, like brutally disciplined and consistent.
yeah,
So they give up or they fool themselves. I mean, we all do, right? I know I fool myself too about things. They fool themselves into believing they're working on their business when they're scrolling through their Facebook newsfeed. It's
yeah,
like, guys, that's not working on your business.
yeah,
That's just scrolling,
yeah, yep,
you
for sure.
know?
So of all of the things that you've done, become, and overcome in your life, what are you the proudest of?
Who I am today.
Yeah,
Yeah. Just impacting people's lives.
yeah. So let me ask you this. Everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I,
Ah,
I am tough, tough as nails. I mean, I'll tell you, I'll, I'll call you out on your stuff. I'm tough as nails. I am brutally direct, and I love you to bits.
Excellent. I love it. So if anyone wants to hire you, learn more about you, reach out, anything about your world, where do they go?
GloriaMacDonald.com.
Okay.
MacDonald, M-A-C.
That's very easy. Gloria, this has been wonderful. Thank you for your story. Thank you for your passion. Best of luck with everything.
Thank you, Joe. It's been great being here.
Absolutely. Thank you.